It's not coming?
I guess not.
Okay.
Hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 439 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada, recorded January 6th, 2025.
We need your help to support the Canadian Patriot podcast. Visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. Show you're not a communist. Buy a CPP t-shirt for just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right.
Excellent, Dustin. Apologies for our tardiness this evening. We were just following in dear leader's footsteps after his
Yes.
announcement today. If it's okay for him to be fashionably late, it is also
Yeah.
okay for us to be fashionably late, which now brings us to our favorite segment of the show. What are we drinking? Pierre, what are you
Uh,
drinking?
Right now, as per usual, drinking a whiskey, some Pepsi, and when that's empty, I'm probably gonna get up and fill up a nice glass of brandy and water. Obviously, always got the water.
Excellent. Excellent. Anything off the Patriot Challenge aside from the water drinking?
Water. Got another. I think I ended up getting another two Audible, or no, one more Audible towards the end of the year. So I got another year book in, which I didn't have a goal for it, but I've been trying to get more Audible
Yeah.
books, looking at features for even the free ones, um, and all that. Got violently ill during the Christmas
Uh-oh.
holiday, so I think I'm still trying to rehydrate from that. But spend some time with family, friends, uh, some nice time off of work. Didn't have to worry about it for a few days or whatever. So it was just nice to kind of sit down, relax, and get a refresh and hang out with people. So that's about it. What about you?
Nice. Yeah, I am drinking the White Claw hard seltzer Surge, so it's got a little bit more alcohol in it. Blackberry flavored today. Yeah, Patriot Challenge. Drank my water today. Got my reading in today. Did not quite get my goal for the year in terms of
Uh,
books. I finished the book today.
okay.
So
So
like I'm 6 days behind, but I'll take it.
you you were what, two books a month? 24?
Yeah. So
I
like
mean,
23 and three quarters is where I made it or something.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, no,
'Cause
I'm not going to complain, but
no,
I will be honest. So yeah, I didn't quite make my goal, but I was
yeah,
close. But yes, part of the reason why I didn't was because, well, at the beginning of the year I was slacking off, and then towards the end of the year I really picked it up, but also then like it was the Christmas break and
yeah.
I was busy just relaxing. And not that reading isn't relaxing, but like yeah, I was doing other things, spending time with friends and family. So I didn't quite make it. But
Yeah,
whatever.
like reading for me is a chore. Like I'm not good
Yes,
with words most of the time, and like reading puts me to sleep. So I'm very particular about my books. Like I can't get books with very long chapters because I also like can't read half a chapter and then pick it up. And I have to
yeah.
finish the
When I
chapter.
when
So
I have a physical book, I'm the same. It's like I hate stopping in the middle. I want to get to the next.
chapter. And then I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, I can remember where it is and like I know where it goes from now. But if the book's too long, like reading puts me to sleep because I guess my brain doesn't work that great for stuff like that. And so I'm like, it's nice if I want to get to bed, I'm like grab a book. And so I'm very picky about my books and how long those chapters are because I'll never never get to bed or I end up finishing the chapter and I'm like, man, I don't remember anything I just read. So
yeah,
it's kind of pointless at that point, right?
yeah. No, I hear you. That's why I like the audiobooks. So like
Mm.
like I just my drive into work and back home. So like I'm, roughly 30 minutes there and back kind of a thing. So I get an hour of reading in a day. And so
Yeah.
like it used to be, yeah, I'd have the radio on and listen to like the same six songs that I actually like over and over and over and over again. And then got into
Yep.
podcasts and I was like, okay, you know what? Like podcasts are great and all. Like you should
But
totally listen to this one and like keep
yeah.
listening to it. But like sometimes it's
Yes.
just I don't I
You
like
end up in that same thing.
yeah.
Like you're listening to a 2 hour podcast and but when you get to work, you got to hit pause. And then when you come back, it gets all fucked up on you.
Well, yeah, and then like I get into the whole like, some of these guys like you look at like Sean Ryan and Rogan and some of the other greats out there that do this, like they are putting out so much content that like I can't keep up with it. So
Yeah.
it's like if I start really getting into it, it might take me like if I get an hour in there, like I mean the Trump podcast that he did there was 3 hours. And then like
Yeah.
the JD Vance one was another 3 hours. So like for me to
I
get
fucking,
through that is like 6 days. So like
yeah.
and that's only two episodes of one like so it just started to get kind of frustrating because it was like there's no way for me to keep up on top of this. So like every now and again, like I'll be very selective. But yeah, I just
Yeah.
didn't want to like get too into it because it would just be like, oh, I got like I have to listen all day every day. Like if I
Yeah.
was kind of
Like,
guy that had like a job where I was on the road all the time, then definitely
yeah.
I would be more into listening to podcasts. But books, I don't feel so bad like if I have to put it down for a couple of days or like I only get a little
Yeah.
bit into it because it's like yeah, it'd be the same as if I was reading a physical book. Sometimes they kind of sit on the old nightstand for a few days because you're busy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, I found myself like even excited for the Audible credit to come in
Yeah.
or filling it up and like getting one. And it's like, even though it's your day off, you end up waking up before your alarm and it's a day where everybody's relaxing. So, the wife and the daughter are still in bed, the dogs are
Yeah.
even lazy where I'm like, they don't care to go out. And it's like, well, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I'm like, I find myself like walking around the house for 2 hours with my earbuds in, either
Yeah.
listening to a podcast or a book instead of, sitting down and like scrolling the
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, whatever. So I'm like, I've even found that's
Yeah.
helped a
No,
huge,
absolutely. Yeah.
huge
Especially when
difference.
it's like I need something on in the background to kind of like while I do a thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Uh, we'd love to hear your feedback about the show. So please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. It's been a while since we've had feedback. We will read it positive or negative, but be warned if it's
Live.
negative, if it's negative, we might make fun of you. But don't let that
Yes.
stop you.
No.
Um,
You do
we
you,
don't
boo.
yeah, we don't really have any upcoming events, although I do know that the Barristaleka remote military march will be coming up in a few months, followed by Resuel and then all of the other things. And I guess that brings us into today's topic.
Oh,
Like,
sweet bitter victory.
yeah, like I want to be really excited about this and like I am, but also at the same time like it's what I
Infuriated.
wanted, but it happened in the worst way possible. So for those of you
Yes.
that are living under a rock and haven't heard, um, the littlest potato, the shiniest of ponies, the guy with the fabulous hair and funny socks, Justin Trudeau, yes, of Fuck Trudeau fame, has decided to officially step down, but not
As part.
immediately.
No.
He's going to continue to stay on as the interim leader of the Liberal Party and interim prime minister.
Yep.
So he made the announcement today at well, he was supposed to start at like I think 10:30, but didn't actually show up until like closer to 11 because,
No, it was 10:45 it was supposed to be. And yeah,
10:45.
he was about 10, 15 minutes per 10,
Yeah,
15 minutes.
despite the fact that you know, literally just had to walk out his front door, he was still late. But with the announcement, he has prorogued Parliament.
Yeah.
So he went to the Governor General prorogue Parliament. She has approved it, so Parliament has been dissolved.
Yeah.
The current session does not exist anymore. So this has happened several times in the past. And some people these days, I think, don't understand what it is or what happens or what that means and what can and can't be done. So
I'm still confused about that, and I've been on this podcast for how many episodes?
yeah, not quite 439, but certainly the last 100
Uh,
at least.
well, 139 because your 300 was the call-in
Was that
episode.
there you go. So
Yeah,
like
and so
139 episodes,
yeah,
more or less. Yeah.
139,
Plus or
and
minus a
I'm
couple, but yeah.
yeah, and I'm still confused about half of it. I mean,
So
ugh,
yeah. So basically it's the current session of Parliament gets dissolved. It becomes non-existent. There is no government. It's still obviously government because there's stupid little things that need to continue on and so forth. But
yeah,
the sitting of Parliament in order to,
push
put forth
bills, have this,
motions
yeah,
and bills and all of that is no more, at least for now, until a new session has started. So there's a few ways that this happens, but one of them is basically that the prime minister can go to the governor general and be like, I need to like put the kibosh on this session for these reasons. And if they go along with the reasons, then they go, okay, great. Yeah, Parliament is dissolved. It does not exist. So bills that have not received royal assent are terminated. So
so
if a bill is working, this gets a little confusing though, because there's some ifs and or buts that come along with this. But so a bill that has not gone through the process of the readings in the Senate and then all of the things, and if the Governor General has not put her royal stamp on it and says this bill is now law, it is gone.
which doesn't mean it's not going to return.
Yes, so that's the thing. It means that
That's the shitty part.
it needs to be reintroduced.
Yeah, and
However,
that's
there
but it's
are
just
like private member bills, so some of the bills don't die. They just get paused. And so
yeah.
whatever stage they were at, they need to, once Parliament resumes and a new session is started, they don't have to go through the whole process again. It just has to start at whatever stage it was at when it died. So if it's, you know, went to the Senate and they had committees and they debated it and everything else, it's as if those debates never happened, but that's where it starts again. It doesn't have to go through the readings that it has already gone through and everything else. And basically, they're saying here that since 2003, prorogation has had almost no practical effect on private members' business. So because of that, like, yeah, if it's a private member's bill, so it's something that was brought forward by a member of parliament and not from somebody outside of parliament that is using a member of parliament to bring it to them on their behalf, it doesn't die, it just gets paused.
Okay,
But
so that's where I get very confused. I don't understand that. A private member
so
compared to
there
any everything else.
so a private member bill is one that is fully introduced by a member of parliament. Like they're the ones that have come up with it and they're the ones that are putting it forward. The average person can't put a bill forward. It still needs to come from
Yeah,
a member of parliament. So like if
yeah,
you went to your local MP and they liked you and you're like, "Hey, I've got this thing and I think it's a great idea and I'd like to let this kind of go."
gain
Then they
traction
go,
and yeah,
"Okay, great. I agree with you. I think this is a great idea. Let's do this." And they put it forward on your behalf because I mean, parliament doesn't care who you are. You have to go through
yeah.
your,
Well, I mean,
representation.
we technically voted him as the representative for all of us, so everything needs to go through him. I mean, we can kind
Yeah.
of. I mean, I agree and disagree with that statement at the same time. Um,
Yeah.
so if a member of parliament,
Yeah.
say your
Yeah.
representative, had an idea that was not brought forward or whatever, or there's this massive thing and he thinks he has a solution for it and he puts the bill forward,
Yeah.
it just keeps going. So if
But it gets paused.
yeah, yeah,
So like,
it gets
yeah,
paused, but I mean, like it when it
it
resumes, it
doesn't,
just
yeah, it starts up
I don't want to say
again.
I don't want to say it keeps going there because let's say this went to Senate and they were having a debate.
Yeah.
Technically, when this goes back, it would have to go back to the
They would have
Senate
to
and as
start
a
the,
restart the
it
debate.
yes. So it's as if the debate never happened, even though it did, and they have to start that portion of it all over again. It doesn't need to get reintroduced, but they have to restart that stage and then it can go from there. But
Okay, so are there any bills that like would probably go against anything that you and me would really
I would
enjoy
have to
that would
look
go
and
back?
see where they're at right now. But I mean,
I mean, all bills are bad, but you
yeah,
know what I mean.
yeah. Um, tax
I
bill is
don't
the worst bill.
taxes taxation
But
is
yeah,
bad,
the
but
problem with all of this though is that still like, so you can't introduce new bills, and the ones that are kind of frozen are frozen, but orders in council are still a thing because government still needs to continue, and like administrative things need to still happen.
so are are OICs still a thing?
Yes, because it's not a bill.
Well, yeah, no, I know that, but I was thinking as in as he's advised that he's going to resign, but because he also said that he's gonna resign or planning to, however you want to word,
Yeah.
like he had some weird wording with it, which we all saw
Oh
and
yeah.
don't understand, and we'll
They
probably
are
get
going
into
to
that
have
later.
he kept using the word rigorous, a
Yes,
rigorous
rigorous.
national process to find a new leader.
Yeah, so he's staying on.
Yeah, so
So
Parliament was
like,
dissolved officially as of last night and
yes,
will be dissolved until March 24th. So there will be no sitting of the House of Commons during that
unless
period.
unless something happens where they need to get it back
Yeah.
in,
Yeah,
right?
so that is like an like if all of a sudden war breaks out or something like that and they need to
But
start
I mean,
making decisions. But yes.
we don't have the ammo supply for it to fucking
No.
even get through all that, but that's
Yeah.
a whole other situation.
But yes, you can still put forward an order in council.
Yeah.
So while they can't push another bill through, orders in council are a thing. They still exist. They have been misused a few times recently in
Allegedly.
terms of gun bans. Because they're not supposed to be used in that way, as we've said before. They're meant to do like administrative changes, like, hey, we're gonna put this person in charge of that committee, or we're gonna, shuffle these things around. It's supposed to
Or
move
I
things around within the existing legal framework, not
and
create legal framework.
and I could see it being an OIC going in to tweak something
Yeah,
where there's a loophole that could benefit not the
yeah,
greater good, like actual criminals
yeah,
or someone breaking a law of some sort. I mean, obviously not anything to do with government because they wouldn't
yeah,
care about that. But anything related to that, I could see that being useful, but not to make a drastic change of
yeah.
everything that has happened to us with our
Oh yeah,
legally purchased and
yeah.
legally vetted
But
anything.
during this time, Um, any committees that were supposed to report on things, like SNC
Budgets,
Lavalin or yeah, budgets
budgets.
or anything else that the government had a committee that was supposed to present information on, that dies as well. So there is no obligation for them to answer any questions relating to any committees that were doing research into any topic of any kind. Which is exactly why that happened when the SNC thing was going, because nope, can't look into this anymore.
Yeah.
Don't have to give you an answer on it. They are not required to do anything.
At at least that doesn't die where they have to start back from scratch.
It just dies. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Now
it's
there,
just paused and it never gets
yeah.
unpaused, right? Like,
Now there's some people that were thinking that, oh, he's pro-rogue parliament, so now all the OACs that were issued
no, no, it's not a thing.
stop being a thing, so we could go shoot our ARs and our prohibited rifles that got prohibited the other week again. No, that's not how that works.
Allegedly.
Those have already. It's you have to order and counsel those things away. It doesn't just
Yeah,
because every time there is an election, there is a prorogation of parliament because they have to dissolve government in order to create
yeah,
a new government. So, like,
yeah.
if that was the case, any order in council gets undone at least every 4 years. So, no, that
But
is not the case.
yeah,
They unfortunately still stand as of right now. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened. And so, the liberals now have their until March 24th to start and conclude the rigorous process to elect a new leader.
yes, which is going to be a big nationwide,
Yeah.
um,
Yes,
really good.
very rigorous, very nationwide.
Yeah,
It was
for
such a
sure.
weird thing that he kept using the word rigorous. Like, what
I know.
what are you
I'm
gonna
like, I
just
don't
have
know.
like the most like useless process ever? Like, of course it is going like
And
it's just a weird word choice. Like he had a lot of weird,
yeah,
his opening statement where he mentioned like COVID and climate change and like a host of all of these things, like in the span of about 35 seconds, like, fuck, bud, like just shut up. Like I just want to punch your face right now.
yeah, like we were talking. Like I actually like normally, so my work truck for me to listen to podcasts, audibles, anything other than the radio. My truck doesn't have the wireless Android Auto, so I got to plug my phone in,
Well,
which I love and hate at the same time, but that's beside the point. And I specifically had left. I was doing some stuff at the shop, and I was like, "Hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that," and I was like, "I gotta go drop something off for some trailer work that we're getting done, and this and that." So it's like I purposely not put it in, and of course had to switch to CBC radio because I'm like, "Oh, he's like he should
yeah.
be at the podium," and he wasn't, so I had to listen to them fucking banter
Oh,
back
I
and
know.
forth a few. Oh fuck.
Oh
And
man, were they ever stroking his cock? Like, just like, come
oh,
on, like,
bro, I was like, and
just shoot
then
the guy a text and tell him you love him. We don't need to all hear it. Like, come on.
like, oh, it was brutal. And I'm like, and they're saying this, and then like, oh, he finally came out, and they're saying this, and wait, no, he's done good. And then there was one person that was, I was actually surprised they gave him airtime or whatever, but he was kind of used to be on the conservatives party side, I think for something, and he was trying to stay fairly neutral. I was just shocked that the CBC had someone that wasn't,
Yeah.
praise gorgeous sock man, and but it was just like, man, I used to listen to them, years ago, and I'm just like, how is this even possible? Like, how is this just allowed? And I'm like, nobody sees that, and it scares me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, some of the like things that sort of stood out to me. One of them was that he was blaming the electoral process
Oh
for
fuck.
a bunch of this, which him changing the electoral process was a promise from day one.
Yeah,
And
from his
yeah,
beginning.
in his first go around,
Yeah.
he could have done something about that because he had a majority. He could have
Yep.
done whatever he had wanted, but he didn't. And then he kind of
No.
left it to the next one and then started talking about how they wanted to have like tweets somehow be part of the electoral process or some nonsense and like it
Yeah,
didn't
and I
quite
mean
make sense or work and
he called, so he had a majority at the beginning, and then he called a fucking election and
yeah.
lost seats and ended up with a minority.
Yeah. So
And
yeah,
the
we're
only
not
reason,
doing that again. Yeah.
yeah, but the only reason he won that time is because he didn't fix the electoral fucking process. Because he
Yeah.
wouldn't have won that time, right? It was what, like 28% of the fucking country voted for him, and somehow he
Yeah.
ended up with the minority, but still enough people to pull
Yeah.
swing and ended up as fucking leader. Where only 27% of the population
Yeah, which means
actually
that
voted.
2/3 of the population voted for someone else or didn't vote at all, which is part of the
Yeah.
problem. But yeah. And then
Well,
like during
yeah.
it, he was saying that like, oh, if only we could have like had your second or third choice be a thing. And it's like, no, ranked ballot is the dumbest thing ever. That is
That's
how
the worst.
Bernier got fucked in the go around, so that like
Yeah.
you don't end up with the candidate that people want, you end up with the least disliked candidate. And
Yeah,
that's the
you went.
problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't like ranked balance or ballots. Sorry. I feel I
Yeah.
should go in and I should vote for my constituent for my
Yeah.
area, and then I should
And
vote for my representative. And sometimes those can be different,
yeah, and like
right?
I don't I mean I don't like ranked ballots for the most part in
Yeah,
anything,
no,
but like at
I
least
don't
like
like it.
when it's within the party, I can sort of understand why they would do it because they want someone that the majority of the party can get behind. But when it comes to
Yeah,
like the country, absolutely not. There is no rank like I don't want
no,
the third choice from everyone to be the guy that wins because, well, when you add
well, I
up
mean,
all of the third choice ballots, he gets more than the first choice ballots or something stupid. Because it's like, no, that's not how
yeah,
that works.
and I mean the guy that almost failed, or the guy at the bottom of the list that went to medical school is still called doctor,
Yeah.
right? I I want the best doctor for specific
Well,
scenarios. Like I just need someone to give me T3, like fine, give me the shitty guy, but like I need
yeah.
open heart surgery. I don't want the guy that barely fucking passed. I want the guy
Yeah.
that's trying to
Well,
improve everything and do whatever. So
yeah.
I feel that should be the same for
Yeah.
people in charge of
Although there's
making
an interesting
rules.
thing with that, though. Sometimes you get the most qualified person where, but like it doesn't really, you know, I guess
Well,
inspire because like you can build 1,000 bridges and no one will call you a bridge builder. But if you suck just one cock,
one,
you are a cocksucker for life.
yeah, you don't even have to suck it. You just lick it.
Yeah.
You just gotta
And you don't even
like,
have to be
yeah,
all that good at it. Yeah.
no,
But
it could be accidental,
yeah,
and it still happens, right? Like,
exactly. So yeah, ranked ballot
yeah,
is a terrible idea. But yeah, there was
100%.
just and the annoying part was that like normally they flip back and forth between English and French, but they're
Oh,
saying different things. He would just say the same thing again in French. So like it took twice as long as it needed to.
and it was a piss off because the person would translate everything in English, and I'm like, that's literally what he just said when I was listening to CBC radio because I was
Yeah.
on the road, right? And I was like, fuck, this is driving me nuts. And then I heard a bunch of it, and then there was like question
Oh.
period, and I was like, I'm done with this because
Yeah,
fuck,
but
I'm
he
gonna
was
listen
only
to any fucking
allowing like
questions.
a small amount of questions, and most of them were stupid.
Yeah, most of them
Um,
made no sense whatsoever.
but I don't know. I think the whole thing was dumb. Um, so like, yeah, we're all kind of happy that he's going away, but it's done in the worst way possible because now
Yes.
he,
Now we can't call a snap election
well, yeah,
where,
like a vote of no confidence and him getting
yes,
absolutely destroyed in the election would have been glorious because it would absolutely have reduced the Liberal Party to not having party status at all, which would have been so good. But
oh,
now, right, like
yeah,
if
now.
government is on hold until end of March. So even if they call an election immediately, what is it like 8 weeks or something like that is the shortest they can run an election for?
Yeah, I think.
So
Is it
another
60 days? Is it
something
60?
like that, yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's 8 weeks, 60 days, somewhere in that like
Yeah.
so they get basically 2 months to have an election. So end of March, so April, May, so we would have like a late May, early June election
Yep.
at the earliest. And I don't think they're going to do that because I think they're going to just push this straight to October because
Yeah.
then
So
that gives them more time to talk up whoever the new leader is and continue to talk shit about Pierre. I mean,
Pierre, yeah,
not
and then
you, the other Pierre.
yes, thank
Although
you.
I'm sure they talk shit about you too. Just
Oh,
not specifically you, just,
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure I
a
get shit
gun
talked all the
owning
time,
male.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a straight white man that owns guns,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, there
you
was that
get,
crazy boating accident from a few weeks ago. I had to go swimming in the cold water, but
yeah,
I made it out, so it's all that matters.
yeah,
Lost some stuff.
yeah. I hope you file that insurance claim for them. Um,
Not worth it, but yeah.
but yeah, like because they're already doing it. Like they already started a couple of weeks ago talking about how he's gonna like ban abortion and all of this stuff. And it's like he's already come out publicly and said that he's not going to do that. But here they are still talking about it. And the fact that people are talking about it and saying that he's going to do it, vast majority of people don't bother to fact check any of that stuff and just go, oh, well, he must be doing it. So he's not for women's rights. So we're not going to vote for him.
Yeah.
And then that
Um,
Ikra
eh,
Khalid or whatever it is, the my old MP before I moved to where I am now. So a couple of ridings over. The thing that Oliver just did with Jordan Peterson.
yeah, I haven't
She
listened to that yet.
it's good.
Yeah.
But like she's like, "Oh, it was paid for by the Russians." Like how are these people like allowed to just get up and just make shit up and say it publicly with no repercussions for their actions? Like there is zero proof, there's nothing.
Especially since Jordan Peterson got his fame very late in his career. And one of the
Yeah.
big things is because he got fired from a university in Canada
Yeah.
because he decided to have a stance against um,
Yeah.
gender
Compelled speech
inclusive,
and yeah.
yeah, gender inclusive stuff or whatever. And they're yanking his license to practice and teach. He's taught at Harvard. He's got doctorates.
Yeah.
He's got thousands of papers. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody that's listened to anything from him, like I would love to have a sit down and have a beer with this person,
Absolutely.
like for hour, like I mean, pictures and drinks and everything,
Yeah.
and and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
uh,
It's it's ridiculous. Like yeah, they're already starting that now and like the election hasn't been announced or anything. They're already starting to talk shit.
no,
And like throughout
yeah,
his entire like speech today where he's supposed to just be like taking accountability and stepping down, he shit talks him. So, yeah.
yeah,
Unfortunate.
and that person, decided to take a giant financial hit from not being able to do this, that, and everything, right? Going back to Jordan Peterson. Sorry, there's a small
Yeah.
distraction. But like he said, all these things and everything and decided to take a giant stance on it. And he's looking at getting his license revoked. And you
Yeah.
think the Russians are going to convince him to take money to have a conversation with Pierre Polyev?
Yeah. And even if they did pay for it, what is that like?
Yeah.
Okay,
Like, uh, I mean,
great.
it should be,
Did they
it should,
influence the conversation in any way by paying for it? No.
I
I mean,
mean,
how many things have like the Indian and Chinese government paid for, like messed around with our elections, and we're not talking about that, and Trudeau still hasn't released the names
right.
and like
And how many have any of the so-called Chinese police stations that were
yeah.
like found out, like have any of those been shut down? Like I got a feeling that's a lot worse of,
Yeah,
Pierre
and the
Polyev.
Russians producing a commercial with
Yeah.
Peterson and
Yeah,
like, come on.
two legit Canadian passport owning people that
Yeah,
have lived in this country, having a conversation, but we're
yeah,
just gonna allow people with
oh yeah,
non-Canadian documents open up a police from another country that is not
oh
really a
yeah,
country that we find as an ally compared to like the US was to come up here and say, hey, we've got some
yeah,
issues down here from this area. Can
yeah.
we
I'd be more likely to
that was
believe it if they were like
yeah.
Trump paid for this interview or something, right? Like, oh, it's just absolutely
I
insane.
I still can't wait to be the 51st state.
Yeah, that'd be. I would not complain. But yeah, so yeah, this is a good thing, but it's a terrible thing all at the same time because yeah, I think they're gonna take this straight to October, which that in and of itself kind of worries me because like that's
Jugmeat gets
pushing
his
it.
fucking pension.
Well, he's already got it now at this point.
Oh, he does.
So
When
yeah,
was the date?
like right around now is the date. That's why he was waiting to like, oh, I'll do the vote of no confidence when we get back because like if they had started Parliament up today, then he would have had his pension already
Yeah.
and he would have voted for
Oh,
the no confidence thing today. And then, but
so I mean, depending if he's done with Poster Boy, we could get a no confidence vote the second they get back in because
we
he's.
in theory we could,
I
but
mean,
I don't think anyone is
unlikely.
gonna
No,
do that because like it's sort of a dick move to be like, hey, I know we've just got a new leader, but vote of no confidence. Like no one's gonna play ball with that.
I mean, we don't need everybody to. We just need enough of them to.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone would support it. That's the problem, right? Like the NDP would back the liberals again, and like
Yeah, but
yeah,
I
I
don't
just don't
understand
think
why. Like,
is it possible we would get one? Yes, but I just don't think that they would.
yeah,
And like the NDP at this point, like they wouldn't have to like follow through on it because they don't have to act tough anymore because JT's gone. So oh, we're gonna play nice with the new people to see how this goes,
yeah,
and like they're
yeah.
not
We'll
gonna
see if we can
necessarily,
rebuild. They're
yeah,
gonna see if they can rebuild that relationship that they
yeah.
so hard they
He
fought
doesn't
so
have
hard
to
for 8 years. Yeah,
posture and talk tough. Like the NDP is not in a great financial position right now. So like if an election gets called, their resources are limited. If they wait till October,
they can
hopefully
hopefully get
their
more.
members will be throwing more money at them, because they're going to start ramping up the fundraising stuff in advance of the election because they know that it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, I,
So it's in everybody but ours and the conservatives' best interest to delay the election as long as possible.
yes, and I mean, as much as I'll say that the liberal government somehow made a smart move,
Yeah.
it like it hurts to say, but
A
like they
tactically
kind.
smart move. Yes.
Yeah, and you put those two words together with the liberals, and you're
I
waiting for an
know.
OAC. But the fact that they did this fairly early enough that okay, let's say they're trying to figure out how to run this through for an October election. Excuse me. They did give it quite a bit of time to hopefully get a race going, lead a race going, and everything. That they might be able to get a few people to come back to the liberal side because they've
Well,
seen the polls.
yeah,
CBC's talking shit about them. If CBC's talking about that paycheck, like how much does the CBC get from the liberal government every
yeah.
year? Like
And
millions, like
that's my
hundreds of
concern is
millions.
that like if the election was, 8 weeks from now and Trudeau was still at the helm,
Yeah,
there is no doubt in
we'd
my
have it.
mind that conservatives would get the mega majority that they're projecting.
Yeah, yeah,
But,
100%.
you know, 8 weeks from March 24th, I don't know if that's true.
I,
Maybe. But the
I,
longer it goes out from that, like closer
yeah,
to October, the more likely it is that some of those middle of the road voters
are
that
gonna go
like we're
back.
only going to vote for conservative because like
They
they're
did one.
just
Yeah,
tired of Trudeau and Jagmeet
yeah,
and they're
and
like whatever, like same difference to me. I'm going to just vote this way because I'm just tired of those two. Might
yeah,
get swung back. And with our stupid first past the post system and all of that, like it could really mess things up.
yeah,
So,
and it shocks me that most people would consider that like I mean, fine, JT's a shitty leader,
yeah.
but he needed enough people from
But
the
yeah,
Liberal Party to push anything
every
forward.
every single person that
Yeah,
voted for all of those things
yeah,
are just as guilty, and that's the thing. Like,
and and for them to think that like, fine, we're gonna take JT out and put fucking
yeah,
Chris Sheffield in it, right?
yeah,
Like that's just because that's the only other fucking liberal I can think of. But like, okay, well, that's gonna change everything. I'm like, but you not realize how this process goes. Like, just like it's not just one person that goes up and says, I want to put this motion forward and it get through. There needs to be a lot
Yeah.
of votes. I don't even, well, I mean, I don't know actually, but can JT just say, I'm doing this OIC, whether he has support from the party or not? Or does it,
In
or,
theory, yes, because he has that power as the prime minister and he is still the leader of the party until
yeah.
otherwise. So that and to respond to a comment here from the problem, I did see that article about how the governor general should not have granted the prorogation. It should have just like, nope, parliament's done. You guys need to vote.
Yeah. Yeah. Like your
I
internal battle with
yeah,
politics
yeah.
is,
This
it
isn't
should
this
not
isn't
affect.
a government problem.
Yeah.
It's a
That's
party problem, and like no. The problem is if you looked at a recent photo of the governor general and her purple hair.
yeah, that explains it all.
So,
I bet you her email has her fucking pronouns at the bottom.
oh, I've no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Um, but I mean, that's the problem with it is that like
Yeah.
she was appointed by him, she's going to support him, and that's kind of her job, like very, very infrequently to the point where like it may have been never um has a governor general ever gone against what the prime minister is saying. Like
Well,
it's
no. So like the problem I have with the governor general to start with is fucking how much do we pay that person? We got to pay for all the security. We pay for them after they fucking do the service. We pay for the upkeep of all that. And it's an appointed position that
yeah,
I, to the best of my knowledge, has it is a position. Well, no. So it's a position designed to represent the throne because
yeah,
technically we're still under British rule, right? We are
yeah,
our own independent person, and we have a governor general, which is a appointed person by the prime minister to represent the throne of England, right? King, queen, whatever, as just a show of good faith, as in like, hey, we still include you in all our decisions.
yeah,
But I don't think there's ever been a scenario where the person that is governor general has gone against anything, whether it be for good faith or not. Whether it be
yeah.
like, hey, I actually don't agree with this. Like, hey, what are you guys doing or whatever. So I mean, like, how much money are we fucking wasting
Oh,
and
too
using
much.
a complete useless position just as a whatever? Like, I have a better idea. How about Canadian taxpayers don't pay for this anymore? And since we're still under British law,
They
technically,
pay for it.
they fucking pay for it or send someone every fucking 4 years, every election. Like,
Yeah,
hey, we're gonna send you this person, and they can pay for all the things. Like, it's retarded that we still decide to follow we follow
yeah,
fall under British law just as a courtesy, really.
yeah. Although unless you live in Quebec, then you still follow French common law. But like, yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, we're not getting into Quebec. We're not getting into
yeah,
Quebec tonight.
yeah.
But right, like, so the
Oh,
governor
yeah,
general at this point, 100% should have just looked at it and just been like, hey, oh, you're having problems inside your party
yeah,
that technically, when you walk through the doors of anything to do with parliament business, you check your personal shit at the door and you are there to represent your constituents. So you can disagree with whatever you want. You can not like your boss and not like coworkers, but you still got to go in and you got to deal with them. You do as minimal as possible with those people. The job still needs to get done. If I have an issue with one of the guys I work with, I can't go to my boss and say, "Hey, I'm not having, I'm having some issues with them. Can we not work but still get paid?"
yeah.
That's not allowed. So why is it allowed here?
Yeah. Because unfortunately, that is how government works. But yeah,
Why can't we get to a system where this works properly?
well, because he was going to do that, but he just couldn't do it. And then, like, because of the electoral process, everyone started flying fuck Trudeau flags.
But like, so there was two things that surprised me with the whole conversation he had. One thing is I was shocked he didn't do um, an acknowledgement of the land he was standing on, because
Yeah, that's a good
that
point.
that's a thing everywhere. It was a thing when I went to my daughter's school for something.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I'm not here for this. I'm not up for it. I'm like, let's just have a conversation. Like, we've got leave some fucking pamphlets by the door. If it's something I fucking care about, I will go look for it. So I'm surprised he didn't do a land acknowledgement because it's technically everywhere. It doesn't matter where you fucking stand unless you're on a reserve, I guess. But then he was talking about I've done so much for you guys, this, that, and then
Yeah, the
the,
audacity of him to get up there and say that he's worked so hard for the middle class. And it's like, I mean, to be fair, he has reduced the number of people that are in the middle class, but not in a good way. He has pushed them
yeah,
further down.
yeah, like I guess if you were to take the family income T4, I am not middle class. Maybe on the high, I'm not high. I'm higher than probably most on that middle class. And I'm like, man, like there's some days where I'm just like, I don't
Yeah.
know, man. Maybe we should wait for payday in a few days. Like
Yeah.
we got some stuff,
And
but
I think
it's
sadly that that is the vast majority of Canadians. And I would say that that number has increased
increased giant.
drastically over the years. But you know, whatever. He's worked really hard to help support the middle class and you know, and those working hard to approach middle class, I think was
And
the tagline
and
that he used to use. But
and what the fuck was the point of talking anything about the fucking support for fucking Ukraine?
yeah,
I'm like, how about you don't talk about all the fucking money we've spent,
yeah,
the millions of dollars, probably billion at this point, or hundreds of millions at least, that we sent over to that country for absolutely nothing.
yeah.
And like, what has happened? What has like? There's been
Maybe
absolutely
they could pay for
nothing.
the governor general
Yeah,
salary and everything with all the money that we've given them. They could pay
but
the
we could
governor
pay for it
generals.
for fucking years, like for the next
Yeah.
like till my daughter ends up as like a great grandmother. We've sent so much money to that country. Ah, shit. Hold on.
Yeah.
My battery's about to die. I gotta go grab my charger. I'll still listen to you.
Or-
But fuck.
But yeah, no, this whole thing is absolutely insane. It doesn't, we're not any better off. But maybe we should start talking about the potential candidates that the media is talking about right now is who's in the running for the Liberal Party. So we have a Francois Philippe Champagne. Uh, that's how you
It's not,
pronounce
that's
that,
not
right?
no, it's not. But fucking
No?
keep going. Jesus Christ.
Then we have Chrystia Freeland.
Oh, the Nazi?
Yep.
Okay.
Melanie Joly, Anita Anand, Dominic LeBlanc, and Mark Carney. So that is the sort of list that the media is
Uh,
floating right now as potential people running for the Liberal Party leadership.
so you never trust the last one. Anything that has Carney in it, not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Small hand
not
smells like
happening.
cabbage.
Small.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
the reference I was saying. 100%.
Yeah. Um, so Francois Philippe Champagne is currently the Minister of Innovation, Science, and Industry and the
Yeah,
Registrar General of Canada.
yeah. You don't qualify. Next.
Um, yeah, so Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Science and Industry. So those are the positions that he has held previously.
Okay. None of that sounds.
Trying to see what other qualifications he has here. Quickly looking.
Well,
Early
was
life,
was he a substitute
born.
teacher?
Well, he was born in Quebec. He studied law at the Université de Montreal,
You know,
and then Western Reserve University School of Law. And so
I'm
he was
surprised
a
we're
senior attorney. So like never didn't really,
nothing.
yeah.
Okay.
He was a young global leader, or sorry, designated a young global leader by the World Economic Forum.
Oh yeah, because that's a system we should trust.
Yeah, and then lived abroad for a little bit, and then came back and became involved in a variety of businesses and nonprofit ventures. So sounds exactly like a shitty politician. Next
Yep.
one, Chrissy Freeland. Obviously, we know grandfather
Yeah.
was Nazi. She was the finance minister, the deputy prime minister. She also has a bit of a lead foot when traveling across the prairies. She was supposed to keep the budget within $40 billion, but blew that out by another 21, even though I
Yep.
think originally Trudeau said that we wouldn't have more than a $10 billion deficit.
Yep.
Um,
But somehow it
so
got to what it is.
yeah, so
But but we're helping Ukraine,
yeah,
and I mean the reserves do need clean drinking water because that was a promise from 9 years ago.
no, it's okay.
So
We do land acknowledgements. They don't need clean water. That
yeah,
filters the water. Like every time you get up and do a land acknowledgement, that is 5 liters of clean drinking water.
is that how that goes?
Yeah, that's how that works, isn't it?
Oh, it makes sense now.
Yeah. We also have Melanie Joly, or Jolly, as they say on the Wikipedia, because they don't put the IE and the accents and stuff like that. But
No,
served as Minister of Foreign Affairs,
useless,
uh, Canadian Heritage, Tourism.
useless.
She ran for mayor of Montreal.
Ran
She came
for didn't.
second. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you didn't win, so
Yeah. So she graduated from the University of Montreal
mm,
and
I'm seeing a trend here.
Brasenose College in Oxford. Manager of the Canadian Air Transit Security Authority.
Mm. So nothing that would mitigate being in charge of a
Well,
giant country.
she's married to a guy that's an artist and an entrepreneur.
Mm. I mean, she's from Montreal,
Yeah.
or she went to a university in Montreal at least. So
So
I
yeah,
mean,
she practiced law. Well, she became the first Quebecer to receive the Arnold Edinburgh Award for recognition of philanthropic involvement with the Canadian cultural community.
philanthropy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um, I'm fairly certain this is the one that also had like
a
fifty
51,000
thousand dollars a month in alcohol charges. So
Yes,
like,
that I don't
why
know
am
what
I
you're.
not getting invited to these parties? You know?
I thought my alcohol budget was kind of high for a month,
Yeah.
but mine are definitely rookie numbers. Like
Yeah. Like fifty thousand
51K
dollars.
a month.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I have a $200 bottle of scotch or $150 bottle of scotch in the house. Like,
Yeah, you'd still be able to drink quite a few of those a month for that
yeah,
kind of money.
like that's what I'm talking about. Like, and
Well,
scotch you don't mix, you keep nice, you keep clean. I mean, neat, whatever you want to call it, or
yeah.
fine, throw some ice in it, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's like 51,000. I mean, like, I've been at the LCBO and I've seen what they charge for some. I mean, bottles, yeah, sure, but I'm like 50,000. Like, I need a breakdown of
It's
this. Like, if you're
yeah.
drinking like the if you're drinking fucking Bacardi White and you got a
Yeah, like
$51,000 fucking
yeah,
beer,
like if she's
like
buying bottles of like Louis the 14th or something, it's like, all right, that adds up quickly.
yeah,
But yeah,
that
if
adds
she's
up
just
quickly.
like,
But
yeah, just getting cases of PBR, that's a lot of fucking beers. I could be mistaken on this, but I think was she not the one that like went to like the wedding in India or somewhere like that and ate dog, or China somewhere, or am I thinking of somebody else?
I mean, I don't know, but I mean,
I
I've
have a
eaten
feeling
Chinese
it
food.
was her, but I could be wrong. But like she went overseas somewhere and did a thing and like ended up eating dog. If it wasn't
Yes,
her, it was another liberal
Jolly.
minister.
It
but
was another Jolly, but I
no,
mean,
I can't. I'm remembering because it was like the Minister of Foreign Affairs or somebody that had to do something with something
well,
like that.
yeah,
But
but I
yeah,
mean, you can't get fucking. I mean, that shouldn't be held against anybody.
I mean, I'm not saying it should or it shouldn't. I'm saying that that's a thing that she
Yeah,
did. Maybe it wasn't her, but there's definitely someone in the Liberal Party that willingly ate dog.
yeah,
Um,
or
we
maybe
also,
unwillingly. You never know.
well, no one held a gun to her head, but we also have Anita
Legend. Yeah.
Anand, also a lawyer, sensing a trend here. Minister of Transport and Internal Trade.
Oh,
She's represented the riding of Oakville in the House of Commons since 2019.
that means nothing to me.
Yeah, she's the next town over from me.
Yep.
Um,
Still means nothing to me.
yeah. She's also been the Minister of National Defense. She led Canada's efforts to provide military aid to Ukraine during the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, although she did not come up with the idea of sending them all of our GSG 15s.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you never know, but that could help Ukraine. Like, we might be able to like push that lever right over. Like, if they
Yeah.
get all those GSG 16s, 15s or 16s.
Both. I mean, they're just slightly different models, but they're all 22s. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like that could like we can send Russia scared. All
Yeah.
those
That's a
22
lot of
MP5
22s. Yeah.
lookalikes. Well, they look like MP5s, so I mean, they
Yeah.
do have,
Just
yeah, they
smaller.
they've got a thing. They've got a thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes. Minister of Public Services and Procurement. So she was responsible of procuring personal protective equipment, PPE, during the COVID-19 pandemic.
And that went off without a fucking bang.
Yeah, and she was also the one responsible for provider procuring 10 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine per citizen, because
Oh,
that is
so
part of it. Yeah.
yeah.
Minister of National Defense. Where else is he? War in
How
Ukraine.
so is
So,
are you responsible for the person coming across the Quebec border and finding kiddie porn on a hard drive, and us telling the person that, hey, you shouldn't have this, and handing the hard drive back, and then putting them up in a hotel and not
I
following
mean, I
up
guess
on
that
it
depends
to
on
make
whether you
sure.
consider that part of national defense or border security or both.
Well, like those fall hand in hand. So border security and national defense do go hand in hand.
Yeah.
I find, at least, I might be wrong because
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not
Yeah.
a politician, and I hope to never be one, and I
Yeah.
never want to be one because logic doesn't
Yeah, well,
do well there.
you haven't gone to law school, so I think that precludes you from it because that seems to be the only thing that these people have in common, aside from being part of the Liberal Party and terrible,
Yeah,
is that they went to law school. She is also
but
the one that apparently has been responsible for getting Canada up to snuff with NORAD after a mandate letter in 2021 from Prime Minister Trudeau. So she's done a bang
so
up job on that.
yeah, sure.
And I guess technically then as the Minister of National Defense, the Army falls under her. So she's the one that I guess ultimately signed off on the military getting those sleeping bags that are not fit for a Canadian winter.
Yep. Well, they probably tested them when Canada was in like Texas, and they said, "Man,
Yeah.
these things are warm." They said,
Yeah.
"That'll do."
Yeah. It's middle of August in Texas, and man, these are warm. Um, Next one up is
Qualifies.
yeah, Dominic LeBlanc, the one that dropped the last gun ban on us. So fuck that guy. Oh, let's see.
Yeah.
What a political
What's he done?
career. Yeah. He was part of the Chrétien and Martin governments. He was the official opposition critic for international trade.
Did that work out for us? Did we gain anything when he was in charge of international trade for us?
Yeah, he was the critic for it, so he didn't actually have anything to do with it. He was just the opposing sides.
For
Um,
us or for them?
yeah, for like when Harper was in, he was the guy that was criticizing Harper.
Yeah, but I still
Um,
mean us as in a
yeah.
country, or them as in everybody that imports and we export to.
Yeah, I'm sure that he didn't do a good job for us.
Yeah.
But yes, let's see. Minister positions here. Minister of Public Safety, Democratic Institutions, and Intergovernmental Affairs. I don't know how those things relate.
None of
Minister
them make
of
sense.
Intergovernmental Affairs, Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs,
That
President of the
seems like a,
Queen's Privy Council.
again, nothing
Yeah,
useful to us.
Minister of Intergovernmental and Northern Affairs and Internal Trade, Minister of Fisheries, Oceans, and the Canadian Coast Guard.
And
Yeah,
what good did you do there?
I don't think he's done anything good in any of those positions.
So I don't, that's the problem is people have had all these titles and we don't hold them accountable for what they've actually done productively for us
Yeah.
in those titles. Like
Well,
if you were in charge of fishing, wildlife, and the Coast Guard, well,
yeah.
whatever the and all that, like did you do anything? Did you we amped up our testing and we found this in the certain waters, or hey, we found another we did extra research on a fish that people miss fishing because it was endangered. Did you do any follow up on anything of that? Did you harden anything that could happen water wise coming into our own country or
Yeah.
importing and
Well,
exporting?
yeah.
Like,
I
I'm not
mean,
going to say
clearly
that
he
we don't
didn't
have shitty people.
sort anything out on the East Coast with the fisheries because they're shooting guns at each other out there. So like
Yep.
maybe that's why he dropped a gun ban. He's like, man, these fishermen are
These
getting
crazy
rowdy.
fucks. These
So
crazy
I
East
am
Coasters.
gonna like take care of this old portfolio with my new portfolio.
Yeah. Maybe I
Um,
could do something better
yeah,
if I just move up. I don't have to be good at my job, but I could be the step above this and find someone that can do my job better
yeah.
and I can implement things.
So next one up, and this seems to be the one that the media currently is pushing as the guy.
Oh, yeah. So that speaks a lot to me. Which
Yeah,
media?
yeah. Well, exactly. Mark
Exactly.
Carney. So this is the
Carney.
one that kind of
Smells like cabbage. Don't
yeah
trust him.
scares me is that he's an economist and a banker.
Okay.
So like those are some pretty decent credentials. And so like he was the governor of the Bank of Canada from 2008 to 2013. He was also governor of the Bank of England for a number of years. Um, he worked at Goldman Sachs, which doesn't exactly please me. Um,
He worked at the World Bank, you said?
Goldman Sachs. He was
Uh,
governor of the Bank of Canada,
Okay.
like the official, like not the Royal Bank of Canada, but like the
Yeah, yeah.
actual Bank of Canada, and then the
Okay.
actual Bank of England.
hmm
So like
Can
some
I see?
pretty
Yeah.
prestigious positions. So the guy is probably not an idiot, and that's what scares me. He's going to have some idea of fiscal policy, whether it works out well or not, I guess is debatable. Um, he hasn't had any real political stuff though. Like he's not currently
But not
an MP.
okay. So that actually excites me a little bit more that he's not an actual fucking career politician. But I also have many questions that if you were really good at being the director of the Bank of Canada, they probably wouldn't let you so say it's a 4 year contract, 2 year contract, whatever it is. If you're really good at your fucking job, most places will try and figure out an incentive to keep you on for a lot longer, right?
Yeah.
Nothing works better than if someone is really good at their job, you don't want that position to change,
Yeah.
right? Um, like if you have a really good manager at any of your facilities, right? Say your manager positions are on a 4 year contract, and after the 4 years, he's really, really good. You probably don't want to let him go
Yeah.
and then get someone new and then retrain and this that. Now, I don't know if the banks do that or specifically the job titles he was holding. They do that just so that there's no bias, um, no favoritism,
Yeah.
all those things that can come with someone being in a position and having friends. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's a requirement or a thing, But if someone is really good at their fucking job, you try and keep them in that job.
Yeah. He's it looks like he's also sat on the board of directors of a number of tech companies, including Stripe, which does like online payment stuff. Yeah. Uh, he is very much so in favor of stopping climate change.
So, um,
So I don't know if he's going to be in favor of getting rid of the carbon tax, which is, yeah, not going to help us.
I
But
mean, like, I'll keep paying it if you can show me where every,
yeah, if it's actually
ev
doing something
yeah,
beneficial, which we know
if
it's not, but
if it's doing something that maybe we just don't see as the normal constituents, but if you can physically show me that a bunch of that carbon tax is going to
yeah.
offset greenhouse gases by cleaning up environments, planting more trees,
Yeah.
doing this, doing that. Um, some of those funds are actually going for renewable energy that may not be dependent on um, another country building the solar panels, the batteries, the whole infrastructure for it. Maybe the money is going towards us being able to recycle all those lithium ion batteries that we can't, and we gotta mine everything, and then after 10 years, we just, they're toxic to the environment. They kill habitats, they kill fish if you throw them in the fucking water. They contaminate everything, but every 10 years, you gotta replace them, but you're being green.
Yeah, well,
And all that stuff. So if we are literally putting all that money into something to figuring out how we can recycle
I
something
think the
that
only thing
doesn't,
that we're putting that money into is politicians' pockets. That's the problem.
and probably
Well, yeah,
businesses. Let's
you
be
gotta
honest.
launder that money somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to launder it, right? So like,
It's
you've
gotta
got
go somewhere so that they can
like,
hide it. Yeah. Um,
and
yeah, it looks like he's done some stuff with the UN, which also makes me dislike him. I'm fairly certain I saw something on here about the World Economic Forum with him again, which also makes me dislike him.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, he is the one person that has not had a political career as of right now. So I don't know why all of a sudden
yeah,
he feels the need to get into it. But those are kind of the people that are at the forefront right now. This may all change in the coming days. We will see. I will say this though. Uh, it is 100% free to join the Liberal Party. And if you do it soon,
yes,
you will be able to vote in their upcoming leadership race. Do with
and
that information what you will. Technically, you are not supposed to be a member of any other party,
at the same
but
time,
yes,
and I don't even think you need to reside in Canada.
I'm
You're
just saying
supposed to. You're supposed to.
anyone can be a member
So,
of the Liberal Party, and it is 100% free, and it takes you all of about 30 seconds to sign up for it, which I did earlier
so
today because I am a good Canadian and I
yeah.
like to be involved in
So
politics. And I
all
totally renounced all of my other party
yeah,
affiliations.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, and all those dirty Americans that listen to this,
yeah,
you should definitely not sign up
yeah.
for any of that because you don't live
And
here
yeah,
yet because we're not the 51st state.
and certainly don't
So
stay
don't.
tuned to find out who to vote for because they are the worst candidate for the party. Definitely
Hmm.
don't do that.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I think that's kind of all that I've got to say about
I
this,
mean,
other than like, I mean, there's a lot of people that think that this is like a win and they're celebrating.
yeah, and
And like it is, because like he's
it's
going away
but
eventually.
he's not gone, and
Yeah.
we don't have answers for many things that are already here.
Yeah. And we're not going to get that
And
satisfying like defeat in the election that
yeah,
we were all like,
yeah,
we're not
I
going to
would have
get the Trump versus Harris win
yeah, no, we're
that
not
we
gonna get
want.
that. Which would have
Yeah.
been a good thing if there was a non-confidence vote and we went to the fucking
Oh,
polls in
we would have
what's
had that for
6 weeks.
sure. Because
Yeah,
I think
we
they're saying that like as of right now, the liberals are polling at something like 16%.
Yeah,
which
like
is the
I-
lowest ever. Like even the NDP is currently higher at 21%.
yeah, like if we follow polls, which I don't really believe or trust polls at all to start with,
No.
but if we were to trust polls, the conservatives would have a majority government
Oh,
that
a mega
they could
majority that has
yeah,
never been seen before.
no, they could do whatever the fuck they
Yeah,
wanted and
which
nobody
is
could
what we
stop them.
need right now.
I'll say that I'll agree with you just because the person that is heading the political party of the conservatives, um,
Stole your name.
spe- no, well, yeah, I mean that's up for debate because he's older, but yes, but he talks a good talk. I do have some issues with certain things he's
What?
mentioned,
Yes,
but
he's a
there are
politician.
things. Yeah, so he's a politician, so I don't trust 90%. Like I don't trust
Yeah.
110% of what he said, but I do have issues with about 7 to 10% of things he has mentioned, where I'm like, I want clarity on this before
Yeah.
I have a stance on it,
Yeah.
and nobody has asked the right questions or the questions at least going through
Well,
my
yeah,
head
and like
of
and
having the
all that
things
stuff will
right.
likely get flushed out more in the media, like as they get closer to
Yeah,
like an
but
actual election.
so it being flushed out in the media
No, but
is an
they'll
issue.
be the one like there'll be debates and they will ask them and you'll hear him answer the question.
But they're not going to ask the
Maybe.
same questions I am because
No.
I'm not a libtard trying to show that this person
Yes. No.
is
But
Hitler.
I mean, he will also
Like
like be out there and doing events that are like not
I
him and
I
others.
just
So you just have to, yeah, hopefully,
okay, so I really hope he listens to this podcast because I hope every fucking political debate he has on stage, he's holding a fucking apple and
oh,
having some
that
bites.
whole clip was just like it was so good. So
Yeah,
good.
just like you don't even have to eat it. Just have the apple on the podium with you.
Yeah.
If you could do that me with for me, just because we
Yeah.
got the same name, like just
Yeah. If
have
he
an
does
apple,
that, like it's just sitting on the
have a
corner.
yeah, have a pin that's like
Yeah.
visible from the camera angle.
Yeah, but
Anything you
if it's a
do,
pin with an apple, it has to have the bite taken out of it.
yeah, yeah. Like, but not the Apple product stuff.
No, no, no.
Like
Yeah.
an actual, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
like a
we,
red apple.
yeah,
Yeah.
with the bite taken out. Like you gotta
Yeah.
have those things. So like, if you listen to this or someone knows them real good that listens to this, like put this out there. You know,
Yeah.
Pierre to Pierre.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen because that would be just epic.
Yeah. That would be just yeah. I would
Yeah,
I mean meme magic, right? Like it got Trump
yeah,
elected twice. It can happen again.
yeah.
Um
100%.
yeah, I would very much like that to be a thing.
Yeah,
Hopefully he wins because I would very, very much like to shoot my AR again because I can and not because I have to. And
allegedly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, with all that being said, where can people find you when you are not on this podcast?
If I'm not on this podcast on Sunday nights at 9, way more diligent on the time than we are tonight. Canadian Prepper Podcast on the Facebooks and the YouTubes. Other than that, I'm on the Discord for the Patriot Podcast. I don't do much other than just check it from time to time. If you want some spicy shirts for the
Well,
upcoming political things,
yeah,
off the wall customizing at Gmail. We're probably on some sort of socialist medias because I don't have any of them. I deleted everything and it was the best thing I've ever did. But my significant other definitely has us on something. So off the wall customizing, check Facebook, Instagram, Tickety Talk. Um, I don't know what else is out there, but yeah, you can find me there. Other than that, Monday nights, enjoying some drinks and good conversation.
nice. You can find me on Instagram, Urbex GTA. Um, Also, you will be able to find me live and in person in Las Vegas coming up if you're attending SHOT Show. Stop in, say
I'm
hello.
not invited.
You can come. If you want to come, we'll get you in. You just got to
We'll
get to
talk
Vegas.
we'll talk in a year or two. I want to go so bad.
well, you're always welcome. But yeah, if you're going to be at the show, stop in, say hello, track me down. We'll have a beer or six or more.
Or, yeah,
It'll be a good time.
probably
Uh,
more because it's amazing. Or
yeah,
it's
get to
American beer.
touch all the things that I'm not allowed to have here. Yeah, otherwise, if you've listened to the show this long, you definitely deserve a discount. So head on over to ragnaroktactical.ca and use the code Patriot at checkout for a discount. Also, apologies to Rod. He's busy dealing with all of the news that has come out today.
So
So he couldn't make it on. We'll try to get him on. And like I know there was that mix up with the CPP and the other
yeah,
CPP, and our
yeah.
guys are still working through that. So we're really sorry about that. But we will definitely get Rod on very, very shortly. Also, to answer a comment in the chat, it is not Sly Cooper on my hat. This is the logo of the Maple Syrup Mafia, which is a group of friends of mine, the True North Tradecraft and Delta 2 Alpha. They make fun tools and things like that for people that do sneaky things in sneaky places. Um, yeah,
If he has questions, I'll explain it later. I know who
yeah,
that is.
yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, it's it is a raccoon though,
yeah.
and it's similar because raccoons are little thieves. But yeah, if
A
you're into
trash
fun
man is.
things, yeah, yeah, Maple Syrup Mafia represent. We value your opinion. Also, February 2nd, I will be doing a courses with Boris of True North Tradecraft. He's doing self-defense and disaster preparedness coming up in February. Head on over to
Ooh,
his
nice.
website. They're fun classes, and I will be there. He's doing the disaster preparedness and the self-defense portions of it, and I will be teaching Stop the Bleed. So I will be teaching you how to finger bang wounds and all that fun stuff and stop
Ooh,
bleeding. So yeah, if you're local to the Greater Toronto area, also known as the shithole, um, come on out, sign up. It'll be a good time. You'll learn some fun stuff. But yes,
sweet.
we value your opinion. So please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. I would also like to remind you that you are a small fringe minority with unacceptable views.